What's going on, everybody? Cheers. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the With Her Two Hands podcast, where each week we celebrate women who build, fix, and make things with her own two hands. I am your host, Bogey, and I am excited for tonight's episode. We have a guest who I actually learned about and met through this podcast series. She's been an avid watcher of the series, and we decided to invite her on as a guest. So I'm really excited to meet her and introduce her to you guys in just a little bit. But first, a quick thank you to our sponsors who help make this series possible. So tonight's episode is brought to you in part by DriveTime and ASE. So DriveTime, if you are not familiar with them, they are on the surface a used car retailer and seller. However, they go so much deeper than that. They do a ton of training. They bring people into the trades and they help teach them and find their niche, whether it's mechanical or body or paint or metal work. They have all sorts of training opportunities for young people coming into the trades. They have an incredible culture within their organization. So whether you're looking for a used car or a new career or just a new employer, definitely go check them out. There will be a link in my bio. And then, of course, ASE, you've heard me talk about them before. ASE, you probably know best through their certification program and their Blue Seal Shop program, but they also do a ton of work behind the scenes to help the automotive industry as a whole, whether it's through training technicians to training the people who train the technicians, the shop instructors, to helping establish standards and just all of the ethics and the codes kind of across the industry. They have a ton of new tests coming out regularly, staying on top of all the new EVs and safety concerns there. I've been doing a ton of work with them over the last couple of months and will continue to do so. So stay tuned to hear more about that, but definitely go check them out in the link in the bio as well, especially their Education Foundation. They do a ton of cool stuff with the Education Foundation. So with that, I want to thank all of you guys as well for coming and hanging out with us every week. Some of you have been coming for years now to watch this series, back when it lived on Instagram as the Trades Lady Happy Hour series, and have joined us now over on YouTube. So thank all of you who have been such loyal supporters throughout the years. For those of you who are new, welcome. So glad to have you here. This show is all about celebrating women. We generally make up about 2% across the trades. So not very many of us, but yet there are tons of us. And our stories very often don't get heard. And so this show is all about shining a light on their successes, their challenges, their struggles, their wins and accomplishments, and both highlighting the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, all of the wonderfulness of women in the trades, and as well as talking about the nitty-gritty dirtiness about it, so that hopefully we can make changes and improve in the future, and we could all make better allies to one another. So with that, I'm going to quit my blabbing. I'm going to bring on tonight's guest. Her name is, I'm going to mangle her last name. She told me how to pronounce it, and I'm probably going to get it wrong again anyway. It is Serena Grundhauser. Dang it. I'm totally screwing it up. I'm going to shush. I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Hi, Serena. How are you?
Hi, Bogey. It's Grundhauser.
Grundhauser. I left the R out all of a sudden in my brain. I'm like, what? Welcome.
It's a long one.
It is a long one. But I can't judge. My last name is Latiner, and it's one of those, like, if you can see
it. Yeah, I'd mess that up too.
If you see it, you can't spell it. If you hear it, you can't spell it. And if you see it, you can't say it. It's just one of those names. So I'm sure you get mispronunciations all the time. We got Kenneth in the comments is guessing it's German. Is that?
It was German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Latiner is actually as well, we believe. So I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. But welcome, my dear. It's so good to have you and see a face to the name. I've seen you in the comments every week. Why don't you introduce yourself to the fine folks at home and just tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then don't get into all the details yet. We'll dive into that in a second. Just give us the...
I give a lot of details. My name is Serena Grundhauser. I live in Butte, Montana. The richest hill on earth, if you look it up. They mined most of the copper when they were putting electricity in from it.
Gotcha.
So I'm just outside of there. I started a welding and metal fabrication business after getting head injuries and everything where I was working at.
All right. So let's dig into what started all of this. Well, let's go back in time first. Like, let's go back to pre head injuries. What were you doing in your life? What was your career back before this whole kind of new chapter started for you?
Way back, I was a waitress and a bartender.
Okay.
Stuff, and I changed and went into working in mental health with kids 5 to 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
And that's where the injuries came from.
So what made you go into that, first of all? And then we're going to have to talk about how these injuries happened, because I'm so curious. But what made you go into mental health with kids?
So my other half, his oldest son was working at this place, and it seemed like it was a lot more fulfilling than dealing with a bunch of drunks every night.
Fair.
Honestly. And the last place I bartended at was a strip club, and when you're hurting drunks, it's like hurting cats. Then you put naked women onto it, and it was a mess. I was over bartending.
The
it really was
here. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, and I thought I could make a difference in some of these kids' lives.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were neglected or abused, had some kind of trauma to them.
So how long were you doing that for?
It was 6 months before my first head injury.
Okay.
So not like almost immediately, though. I was coming home with bruises and stuff. Some of those kids.
Oh, wow.
Were just acting out because
really serious mental health issues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like lots of horrible, not even Dateline could cover some of the trauma some of these kids have been over.
Oh, wow.
And everything. And I still have like scars on my forearms from where I was bit and scratched.
That's intense.
Stuff. And then I don't know if I can, where's the camera at? There we go. Right in here, I can feel pressure right there, but I don't feel pain just because I was bit there so many times.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you didn't have background or training in
there was some training. All, right? Yeah, when you got hired, there was some training, but it was mostly on the job. Wow. Following senior staff.
That's a huge leap to dive into that kind of environment without having a background in child development and developmental disabilities. And that had to be insanely intense for you.
At times it got really intense, but there was times when you'd see the kids make breakthroughs and learn, light bulb would go off for them and stuff. And that made a lot of it worth it.
Yeah. So do I ask how you wound up with head injuries from this? Are there because I think head injuries, like getting kicked by a horse or like falling off a building or football,
Well, it was kind of like that. So we had a girl that was acting out, and she had those pointed fashion boots on. And she was laying on the floor, put her arms up like, the pick me up type of thing. We figured she was done with her temper tantrum and everything. Another staff and I reached down each for a hand. And when I bent over, she kicked and she got me right in the top of the head here. Knocked me down. We're not entirely sure if I lost consciousness and how long it was, but that was my first trip to the hospital. And then 2 weeks after that, I was back on the floor dealing with the kids, same girl. We were in the same hallway and ended up getting the top of my head bounced against the wall multiple times.
Wow.
And stuff. And then the third one, because there's more than stuff, was a year later. Morning staff was late getting in, and I was watching the 5 to 8, 5 to 7, something like that, the little kids, and they were fighting, and one went to punch another and caught me on the left side of the head.
Ay.
So I have multiple close skull brain injuries, post-concussion syndrome. My eyes don't focus together all the time. Sometimes my brain ignores what comes in from my left eye for
Wow.
information. That's why I have to wear glasses and stuff.
Wow.
I've had
So I have to ask, like, through all of that, I mean, you still speak so positively about that experience and the rewardingness of it. Like that I don't even know the right words to say. My goodness.
yeah.
That's a lot. That's a
Well,
lot.
it is, but the kids didn't ask to be, put in situations where they have this trauma and stuff. So you can't really blame the kids too much because they don't know how to handle those emotions and the bad stuff that's happened to them. That's why
Right.
they're there. They're trying to learn how to deal with it.
Wow. So were you due to the injuries, were you told like you can't do this anymore, or was it a
Oh
decision that
yeah.
you made of I can't do this anymore?
No, the doctor after the third injury said I couldn't even work the graveyard shift when they were asleep with the kids. I had to find something in the building to do. So I did like the night paperwork and data entry and stuff. And while I was doing that, I decided to go back to college.
Okay.
In between my second and third head injuries is when I decided to go back, and I enrolled. And then I was supposed to start at the end of August of 2017 because my first two injuries were in 2016.
Okay.
Beginning of August, you could call him my stepson. He passed away from an asthma attack
Oh wow.
at home at 25 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. And right after school started is when they shaved my head and found a torn and tangled bundle of nerves in my scalp and tissue torn away from my left temple, which I got injections for stem cells with stem cells, actually,
Wow. It has
to
been
try and heal
one
that.
trauma after another for you. I am
Oh,
so sorry for
it
your
gets better.
loss. It gets
Or
better.
not better, but I guess
Or
there was good and bad. Like we've lost a lot of people between then and now.
oh my
My
goodness.
other half's uncle, a friend of ours was shot. Another was a paramedic that got killed at a demolition derby,
Oh
a
my
motorcycle
goodness.
wreck. All of this balled up and kept going and kept going. We're raising the she's 14 now, she'll be 15 soon, granddaughter from the oldest boy, stuff. And she's dealing with, again, trauma and stuff from when she was younger. And then March 25th of this year, I was supposed to go to my friend's husband's funeral. And we got the call that my stepdaughter was unresponsive at 25 years old. And she had passed away.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been,
Serena, my goodness.
this has been a very long, long battle. I mean,
How
there's been good things, but it's, yeah.
how do you keep going through all of this?
Because
What
I
keeps you
was
moving?
never given a choice. It was, you got to keep going. Like you can deal with your grief, you can be sad, but you can't wallow in it because you're just going to be spinning your tires.
But you didn't just keep going, Serena. You not
Well,
only
I
kept
did.
going through all of this, you were thriving through this. You chose to go to college, which you hadn't
Yeah.
done yet. So now as an adult in life, going back to
Yeah.
college, which is
In
for
my late 30s.
anybody, yeah, for anybody, that's a ballsy decision. And that takes a lot of confidence and it takes a lot of like chutzpah, to bring out my Jewish roots. So
My other half likes to call it my craziness.
okay. So, all right, I have lots of questions, but I'm seeing somebody in the audience is telling me to ask about the good news and to ask about your brother. Is
So
this your
that
brother
is,
by any chance?
yeah, that would be my brother.
Okay.
So Brett is the oldest of my brothers. He's the closest one to me in siblings.
Okay.
So he was adopted out when I was about 2, when he was a baby.
Okay.
So from the time I turned 18 until just a couple of years ago, I'd on and off searched for him, trying to figure out how I could find out about the adoption or anything like that. And I believe it was 2021 that I found him. But not in the way I thought I was going to find him. So during quarantine in 2020, I took an ancestry DNA test.
Okay.
Thinking, okay, maybe he's taking a test. Everybody's taking these tests. Stuff. Got it back. It would have been my second cousin. It was my dad's cousin, my biological dad's cousin.
Okay.
And he pointed me in the right direction. And that's when I found 2 brothers, a sister-in-law, and a sister in Texas, and a sister in Missouri.
Oh my goodness. So
that
your family totally just expanded and
it expanded. And I expected them to be, tell me to jump off a bridge and stuff. Angel's my sister.
Awesome.
So I found all of those guys, but I still hadn't found Brett, and I was searching for him. Found out there's a registry for adoptions in Nevada. Sent in a letter. They sent me back a letter, and they said, we can't tell you, but can you confirm this birth date? Because nobody's registered yet. And so I called up, and the gal kept stressing the birth date. And I was like, okay. So I get off the phone with her because I was like, I can't confirm the birth date. I'm not sure. And everything. And it was later on that night that I was like, I've got access to public records. What do they do with birth certificates when a baby's adopted? And it's like, okay, they changed everything but the birth date. And almost all of us were born in Reno at the hospital. So I started searching, and there was like 6 names.
Oh my goodness.
And so then I went to social media, and I waited a week and went back and forth of whether I should contact him, because that's a big bomb to drop in somebody's lap of, hi, I'm your sister. Do you know you're adopted?
Oh my goodness. What you have had an incredible couple of years, like the worst of the worst, the best of the best, all sorts of ups and downs. What a roller coaster. And through all of this, you go to college, change careers, and start a business.
Yep.
Like, what?
Welcome to my craziness.
I absolutely love it. There's so much that I want to dive into. I mean, we could probably talk for hours just about this whole like finding a whole extended family situation. That's
and they all were like get along with all of them, love them all to death. Got to visit them, meet them in person. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. We could seriously spend an hour on this, but that is not the topic of this show. So, as much as I want to,
on the next one,
I know I love seeing how many of them showed up in your comments. Your new extended family and support system, and at such an important and crucial time for you when you obviously you needed it the most. And so I'm so grateful that was a positive. And that you found each other. That's just incredible. So while you're going through all of this, head injuries and death and sadness and grief and also the highs and the anxiety, I'm sure, is associated with like meeting family that you didn't know you had, and how are they going to receive you and all of the rest of this. What on earth made you say, I'm going to go to college now? Like, where did that come from? And why did you choose what you chose to study in school?
I've always wanted to learn how to weld.
Okay.
And stuff. And when the doctor said, you can't do this anymore, I was like, well, looking around going, okay, what can I do?
Okay.
And I've got a friend of mine that at one point was building custom motorcycles, custom cars and stuff. And I'm like, well, I already know the mechanics, but I don't know the welding.
Okay.
And I want to learn the welding. And
how did you know the mechanics? Did you have a past in automotive, or just from family?
Just backyard mechanics. My stepdad and my mom made sure us girls knew how to do basic stuff on vehicles, swap motors, basically
basic stuff, swap motors.
Yeah.
That's not basic.
We've driven a lot of cop auction cars. Trust me, that's basic mechanics for them. You get a $200 car, it's gonna have problems. But
oh my goodness, okay.
But they taught us that. They taught us plumbing. They taught us a little bit of electrical, and I picked up more of that stuff. But it was basically so we didn't have to be calling all the time. We could be self-reliant, and they didn't want us to have to rely on somebody else.
Yeah.
unless it,
So mom
we
knew all
absolutely
that
had to.
stuff too. Mom was
Mom knew a little bit. Yeah, she
okay.
was a mechanic. She could rebuild carburetors and all that too.
That's awesome. I
Yeah,
love it. I mean, as as open-minded as I try to be and as much as I rally for women in the industry, like I don't often hear people saying, "Yeah, I learned it from my mom." Like it's just
yeah,
especially that, the older generation, it was just far less accepted and
yeah.
socially okay for women to be doing that sort of stuff. So that's really cool that you learned from mom and stepdad. Um, okay, so you had a little bit of the mechanical stuff. You've always wanted to learn to weld. You've got this traumatic head injury that's affecting your sight. Was that a concern for you with welding and with the light from welding? And
We didn't find out how bad my eyes were until after I was already in my first year of machining or the metal fab,
wow,
because it was machining first that I took, and
okay,
um, then they put in a second year of machining. I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and take that and stuff. And so that's how I ended up with a precision machining degree.
that's
And then
awesome.
the welding and the first year of machining went towards the metal fab. So in 3 years, I was able to get a double associates.
That's incredible. And you
Mm-hmm.
graduated with honors
I did. I
despite
did.
everything that was
Mm-hmm.
against your.
I treated it like it was my last chance, honestly.
Hmm,
It was one of those of I'm not screwing around. I'm not a young kid. I'm not playing beer pong every weekend. I'm here to learn what I need to learn to be
yeah,
able to thrive and bring in an income for myself.
yeah.
Because every day I have head pain, and some days it's really bad. Like I wish for a migraine because it'd be a lot more pleasant type of thing.
Totally.
So running my own business, as hard as it is being the chief everything officer, stuff. If there's a day where I just can't do it, then I know that I'm not, leaving anybody else in the lurch. I can just take my time and go rest and lay down.
That makes sense. I was gonna ask if there was if you just didn't have an interest in going and working out at a shop somewhere, or if it was out of necessity that you really had to
It
be in
was it was a
control of your
little
own schedule.
it was a lot for my own schedule and stuff, but you got to figure Butte's only about 30 to 30,000, maybe 35,000 people. So it's
Okay.
not a very big town.
Yeah.
The closest like big cities would be 80 miles away
Okay.
in Bozeman.
Fair enough.
So there's not a lot of opportunities and stuff if I want to get hired on as a welder.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you wanted to pursue this schooling kind of as your like to make money and to find a
Hmm.
job and to work. And did you not know that there wasn't a lot of opportunity from a job perspective at the time when you signed up for the
No,
program?
the goal was to be running my own business
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff
That was the plan
because
from the
I
get
just
go.
I just yeah I just knew that there wasn't a whole lot of welding shops and opportunity for it because you know they just don't have a lot of people.
Yeah. So so now you graduated school. What year are we talking now? This is not that long
2020.
ago. Okay, so you graduated was it right before COVID hit or right after?
Oh no, spring break is when we shut down because of quarantine
Okay.
stuff. We went on spring break and it was in the middle of spring break. They sent out the emails that we weren't coming back to campus.
Okay. So you
So I didn't want.
graduated after
I
COVID
graduated
started.
May of 20. Yeah, May of 2020. I didn't actually walk the stage until 21.
Yeah. Mer.
So
So you get out of school, you're all done, the world is on fire. And
yeah, pretty much it was a dumpster fire.
it really was. 2020 was a dumpster fire. And you're like, all right, I'm starting a business.
yeah.
How did that go? Because that's starting a business is
It,
rough by itself. Starting a business in the middle of a pandemic, having just graduated from school, what was that like for you?
there was ups and downs. It really was. And I've got a CNC table so I can do all the signs and the metal art and stuff
Nice.
like that and go to shows, but there were no shows happening.
Right.
So it was a lot of word of mouth, friends, family, stuff like that doing stuff here and there and just trying to get everything figured out.
So do you have a specialty that you focus on your business, or do you do a little bit of all sorts of different types of stuff?
Mostly MIG. I can do stick. I don't have the setup for TIG,
Okay.
unfortunately, as stuff. And I didn't get a whole lot of schooling on the TIG because we were supposed to do it after spring break. And we all know how that went.
Of course.
Yeah.
Are you using the machining aspect of your degree at all, or have you not been able to do much with that?
Not as much as I would like to. I'm working out of a 2-car garage, and I say 2 cars because I'm not sure you could fit 2 cars in this thing, even without my toolboxes
Right.
and my motorcycle lift and my work table and everything else that I've got in there.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't have room for a lathe or a vertical mill right now, which I would love to have.
Yeah, me ditto. I don't even know how to use it, and I want one.
Oh, they're so great. It's like a drill press on steroids. It's wonderful.
I just want all the tools. Let's be honest. I just want all of the tools.
Yeah. And my other half's mom asked me I think it was last Christmas or maybe the one before, what I wanted for Christmas. And I said, oh, I think I'm about a 80 by 120 shop. That would be nice. Of course, I didn't get it, but
Right,
a girl can dream.
A girl can dream, exactly. So, and what kind of welding? So you're doing MIG, but what kind of stuff are you doing? Are you doing industrial stuff? I know you're doing some art stuff. Are you doing a blend of things, or is it mostly on the creative?
It kind of balances and goes a little more to art sometimes, a little more towards industrial.
Okay.
And everything. I took one of my first projects out of my shop was taking a 9-foot trailer and turning it into a 16-foot trailer with fenders and a drop gate. So,
all right. And so you just built it by word of mouth and
yeah, a lot of word of mouth, handing out cards. I'm part of a couple of business groups here in Butte. One is for business women. We meet once a month, and we've got a Facebook group called the Queen Pins. And everything, and it's women from all walks of life. We've got motivational speakers, dance instructors, yoga. There's a gal that owns, I think it's sustainable food containers for restaurants and stuff. I mean, It's just whoever shows up, And then the other one is like a networking type of group where referrals back and forth.
That's fantastic.
And we're all levels of being in business, from your baby entrepreneur, kind of like what I am, all the way up to ones that have been in business for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. How have you been received as a welder? I know just from some of your comments in the posts that you've sometimes struggled with people accepting you as a woman, or maybe for other reasons. I'm not sure, but what's your experience been with how you've been received?
Sometimes it's wonderful, and the younger generation is a lot more accepting and stuff. And I've got younger guys asking me questions for advice.
Yeah.
And then you get the older generation, and some of them are great, and some of them are like, yeah, girl power. Other ones, I've gotten so many comments being at events, even from older ladies, that's why I have the sweatshirt that I got for Mother's Day. It was part of the pictures I sent over that says "Silly boys, girls weld too." Because I get the comments of, oh, your husband's a talented welder and stuff. I'm like, he doesn't even touch the welder. Like, I'm the welder. I'm not the welder's wife. The sticker's on my back of my truck. Please, come on.
So how do you handle that when you get those comments?
I make a lot of jokes and stuff like that because I don't feel the need to get confrontational with most of them and stuff, because they're doing what they're been used to.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then sometimes I look at them and go, we held down the home front during World War II. What do you think they were doing? They weren't knitting those airplanes. So,
although that would be impressive.
It would be, and lightweight and radar proof, but
Yeah, no kidding. But I think that's a really interesting point. And I think we brought that up a couple of times in different episodes, is like, there's a difference between the naive comments, the like where they're just not used to seeing a woman doing this,
Mm-hmm.
versus the really like the really sexist ones where they're like, I don't think you should be doing this, right? And there's kind of
Yeah.
there's a difference there, and like one, they're both annoying, but one is a little easier to deal with than the other, because it's not intentionally being mean and not supportive.
Yeah.
They just don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
Is that so? Is
So
that mostly what you've gotten, or have you gotten some of the
yeah,
other?
yeah, it's mostly that. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of sexist
That's
comments
awesome.
and everything. And then when I was in school, of course, like the trades teachers and stuff, a lot of them were men,
Yeah,
and they were very accepting and wanted to know how to get more women in the trades.
that's awesome.
So
Can you mention you were the first female in the program? Was it just with the double associates
with
or
the
in the
double
program at
associates,
all?
yeah.
Okay.
No, it was with the double associates. There was a girl ahead of me in the metal fabrication program,
Okay.
and they decided they were going to put that second year of machining in, which was dealing more with the machines, the CNC machines, and all that. And she decided that she was ready just to go into the marketplace and get a job.
Okay.
So I was the first to actually get the double associates for a girl.
Gotcha. Very cool. Are you still in touch with her?
No, I didn't talk to her much. The girl that was behind me a year she was in the first year of machining when I was in second year, and then we took welding together and stuff. I still see her on Facebook and
Nice.
everything. And then I waitress at night at a restaurant to kind of pay the bills. I bootstrap. I don't want to get any business loans.
Yeah.
And one of the girls there is now going through the metal fab program at the same college.
Oh, another one of the waitresses?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I appreciate you acknowledging that too, because I feel like that's a topic that comes up often as well, as this idea of starting a business and feeling like you have to be 100% in it and that's it. And like
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with a young woman that I used to mentor, and she had started her business and was waitressing in the evenings, and she felt like a failure because she was still waitressing. And I'm like, honey, that is like totally, that's normal. Like when
Yeah.
you first start a business, unless you have a massive loan or you're independently wealthy, or you have
You have a sugar
investors.
daddy. I mean,
Or I was going to go investors, but okay.
yeah, okay, whatever.
Unless you have set up where you have financing for it, that's what we do, right? We make it
Mm-hmm.
happen, and we work a gazillion jobs, and we make it happen to do what we need to do to get the business off the ground. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you acknowledging that.
Yeah, no, I've set a couple of deadlines for quitting waitressing, and it is not, I have blown past those deadlines. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it'll be in 6 months then.
Yeah.
And stuff. We'll see what's going on.
So what's your next deadline?
Next deadline is January 1st.
January 1st. Okay. And
Yeah.
and is it realistic?
I thought it
Maybe.
was going to be, and then there was a couple of hiccups in the road. So it's one of those,
what
Murphy
needs
always
to
moves into your
happen?
spare bedroom.
Right. So what needs to happen to make it realistic?
To make it realistic, and people are probably tired. My friends and family are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. But I got an invite last year and an invite this year to go down to Vegas during the rodeo finals to be a vendor at the Cowboy Christmas.
Okay.
But I don't have the extra cash for the booth at this point, nor the travel and hotel. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those I gotta stay kind of close to home and get some more big projects in the works.
Right.
So.
Okay. So you should tell the fine folks at home where they can find you if they have projects that they are in need of, and we gotta start brainstorming like what you can do to like do a big push to make it happen, right?
I know.
What do you do for your marketing, and how do you get more business?
I am the chief everything officer, like I said. So I'm out. I'll pass out cards. Even when I'm waitressing, I have cards in my apron that
Nice.
I'll be talking to people, telling them, hey, I'm a welder,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm part of the Butte Business Network, which is a referral type network,
Nice.
and stuff.
I'm going into coaching mode. I can't help it.
That's okay. I will take any coaching. There are times when I feel so lost and like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm like, why did I do that? Why?
I guess I feel like you have this spirit though that is not common, and I don't want to gloss over that. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Like, you've been through so much.
Mhm.
You've continued to take on more and bigger and better and challenges, and you keep striving, and nothing seems to be slowing you down or knocking the wind out of your sails. And I know a lot of people would have stopped and given up at far less. So
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
what
but I don't have quit in me.
where did that come from in you? Where did that come from?
I would say probably when I was a kid, like little kid, I was raised by my great grandparents. Now they went through the depression, and it was you go to work, you do your best, you keep going, you don't put things off and stuff.
So it was beat into you, so to speak.
Yeah, without being actually beaten into me, but yeah.
Right?
And I mean, my great grandfather led by example. He was still working when I was a kid. I can remember him working for the road department there.
Yeah.
And it was you got up, you went to work unless you were on your deathbed. On your days off, you did home repairs. I mean, it was always go, go, go. There wasn't a whole lot of relax unless it was vacation time.
And that's you now, right?
A,
Go, go,
a lot
go
of times, but
all the
well,
time.
there are days where my head injuries and the head pain just knocks me down and stuff, and it makes me. I get groggy. I get like mental fog stuff going on. It's post concussion syndrome can mimic a lot of the same symptoms as ADHD. So
Okay.
sometimes it makes it hard.
That makes sense. Interesting. So is there something that I mean, aside from just the there's no quitting isn't an option. Like I get that. I relate to that. Like failure is not an
Yeah.
option. It's just not a choice. But you're not just grinding, you have a good spirit about it. You have good energy about it. How do you muster that, and like what keeps you moving? Is there something that excites you, inspires you, is like getting you excited about keeping moving and moving forward consistently throughout all of it?
I don't know. I want to be a good example for my step granddaughter, my step kids and stuff. And I do brag that they got their work ethic from me
How many kids are
and
you
stuff because
raising?
they.
Uh-oh, you froze. Oh no. Are you, are you still there?
Did I
Oh
lose
no.
you?
I don't know. You were frozen for a little bit there. We're back. Are we back?
Are we back?
We're
Okay,
back.
I'm back.
Okay. I don't know who
Okay.
froze, if it was you or if it was me, but we're back. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Um, um, how many kids are you raising in the house?
Just the one, the
Okay.
step granddaughter at this
Okay.
point in time and stuff is the only one that's not, over the age of 18
Okay.
that's in the household. So
Okay. So a little bit of relief there, and you've got this newfound community of support. Is your newfound family? Are they local? Are they nearby?
no, we are spread out. I've got a brother in Seattle, a sister in Pennsylvania,
Oh
my
wow.
two brothers, sister-in-law, my sister, and nieces and nephews, of course, are all in Texas, and then I've got a sister, brother-in-law, and niece in Missouri.
Okay.
So
So yes,
it's
all spread out. All right.
yeah.
So talk about welding. So you went to school thinking,
Hmm.
I know these things, I know mechanical stuff, I know some stuff, I want to learn welding. Was it everything you hoped and dreamed? Is it what you thought it would be? Do you love it?
I love the welding and the creative part of it. I mean, I joke that I sew with fire, and I know a lot of welders do joke that.
Yeah.
But to be able to sit there and go, okay, I can take copper pipe, round steel, and some cutouts, and I can make a statue or sculpture, as you want to call it, of a fish jumping at a dragonfly. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I'm even when I'm threatening to blow up the shop and everything else because nothing's working right for the day and stuff, I'd rather be out there than like anywhere else, I think.
What about it do you love?
It's calming. It really
Mm.
is. It's calming. And it's like you can focus. Just, I'll have my music going and I don't know. It just like everything else just kind of melts away.
Yeah.
Not to make a pun or anything, but it does. It just, all the worries.
I
It's
see
the
what you
feeling
did there.
yeah. No, it's the same kind of feeling I got when I could ride motorcycles and stuff because with the whole vertigo balance, eyesight stuff, I'm still having trouble
Oh,
being on a motorcycle. I had to reteach myself how to drive at highway speeds
oh my
and
goodness.
stuff because it just seemed like everything was going too fast when I was a passenger. So it was like we had to work on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
So
the
someday I'll be
art,
back on the motorcycle.
yes, yes, when it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
The art's really like it's a release and it's a sanctuary for you, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Were you a creative art type before getting into welding and this phase
A
of your
little
life?
bit, a little bit, but it was, I mean, I did art in, high school and stuff like that, but there wasn't a whole lot of art that I really did. At one point, I was making jewelry, which some people consider art,
Yeah.
just as a little hobby
Yeah,
side thing,
definitely.
but, that was really more expensive than it was worth. So I gave up that hobby long before
I
I
feel like
discovered welding.
there's a lot of hobbies that are more expensive.
Hmm.
Yes. There's a meme that was going around that was like, "Why would I pay $20 to buy this blanket when I could spend $98 in supplies and make it myself?"
Exactly.
Yep. But we love it.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you could wave a magic wand and and change anything about the current status of your business, of your situation, like what would your magic wand be that if we could wave magic wand and make different in your business tomorrow, what would it be?
A bigger shop and at least a couple women in the shop helping me.
Oh, okay. So we've got
That's
plans and vision to grow this.
Oh, yeah. Well, the plan and the vision is to have a business that is woman owned, woman operated,
Okay.
and then on like weekends, evenings, actually teaching classes for women to learn how to do welding. I've had
Okay.
so many women come up to me and be like, I would love to learn how to weld, but I never had the chance. I never had the opportunity. My dad welded all the
Yeah.
time, but he wouldn't let me,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I'm not going in depth. I'm not getting them certifications, but they get the basics. Kind of
Yeah.
like the down there in Arizona,
The
which
welder
funny story,
workshops.
the weld like a girl.
Oh, well, like a girl. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I actually got to talk to her on the phone a while back because one of her good friends is actually in my Queen Pins group here in
Oh,
Montana.
okay. Very cool.
So
So for those who
I
don't
got
know, Weld Like a Girl, Shannon Aronmar, she was one of our guests on the series way back when. You can find her in the archives. It is up on YouTube. She's fantastic. Our interview got a little screwed up with reception issues, so we have to have her on again very soon because she's fantastic. But there's actually two welding programs here in Arizona. Weld Like a Girl is down kind of South Arizona, and then Weld Her Workshops is in Phoenix. The
okay.
owners of which we also had on as guests in the past. You can check those out in the archives as well. Lenny Rodriguez and Rachel. Oh dang! Rachel Rose. Um, um, but there's definitely an interest in it. There's a need for it. Have you started teaching classes in your
I
hometown
I
yet?
not yet. Stuff. I'm not set up to be able to do it or anything. That's like the long term goal and everything. I'd like to have the shop bigger,
Yeah,
be able to afford to have 2 or 3 or 4 welding stations set up.
yeah.
Stuff.
So I'm going
So
to tell you. So again, coach mode is coming on. I can't help myself.
that's okay. I will take all the coaching and
I
advice I can get.
I had a wise and favorite mentor of mine once say that I would rather see an uneven trail than an unplowed field. Meaning, I'd rather see you do it poorly or not to the best or not to the big grand vision than do nothing at all. So even if it's starting tomorrow teaching one-on-one classes with one person
Yeah,
in your little garage with a welder, there's no reason why you can't start now and have that be your seed money to get to that event that you want to go to.
that's true.
And then it grows, right? I think
I'm gonna have to clean the
sometimes
garage now.
and people don't care, right? Like they just want to learn. You know how it is, especially as women.
Hmm.
We've been told no, if we've been told that we're not allowed, if we've been kept away from opportunity, just the opportunity to have the MIG torch in your hand and strike an arc and lay a weld, like that by itself is so exciting and so huge that they don't care. They just want the opportunity. And if you're going to create the space and give that to them, that is such an amazing gift and confidence builder and booster for them. And it's a means of building your business. And the need is there, the desire is there. So I
It
say,
is.
I say, go for it. Start tomorrow, right?
Well, not tomorrow. I got to work tomorrow, but
Okay, not tomorrow, but
I
you
got a
know what
waitress
I
tomorrow.
mean.
But I know. I know.
But if you've got people asking you, that's your ticket,
Yeah.
right? That's your ticket.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And they'll grow. You don't have to have perfect classes with all of the things and all of
No.
the shields and all of the whatever. I think a lot of times in business we tend to get stuck on the big grand vision of what we want it to be, and we don't necessarily remember that we just have to take that next step, that next step, that next step. And if
Yeah.
we if we're so busy focusing at the top of the staircase, we never get there. Right? We got to like just focus on that step
Yeah.
immediately in front of you, right? Baby
Oh, yeah.
steps.
But
I
I
like
am
it.
starting to. I did start mentoring, so
Nice. So
already
tell me
in
about that.
kind of a strange way.
Okay.
Going back to my Queen Pins group, there's a one of the business ladies. Her daughter is actually incarcerated in federal prison, but they have a vocational program there, and she's in
Nice.
the welding program. And her mom asked if I would be a pen pal with her. Stuff. So
Oh,
we've exchanged
fantastic.
letters once so far in
Okay.
August. So I'm waiting for the next letter.
Very
But
cool.
trying to give her a little bit of, okay, this is what you need to do because she wants to have a welding shop when she gets out.
Nice.
So I mean,
That's awesome.
it's a strange way to start mentoring women, but they need it just as much as anybody else.
Absolutely. And I think we're starting to see some more of that. I know Tiffany Van Orff, she's another big name in the welding world. She has actually I don't know if she started the program or if she's just heavily involved with it with a women's prison doing kind of similar stuff, teaching
Mm-hmm.
welding. And it's great seeing more and more of that starting to show up, especially with non-traditional careers for women,
Yeah.
because it's such a phenomenal way to create a life and a future for yourself. It
Oh, it
really,
is. I
really
mean, I
is.
see it every day in the welding women groups that I'm on Facebook and stuff. Hey, I'm a single mom and I just graduated. I can't wait to get my next job,
Yeah,
type of thing.
yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
giving them hope that they don't have to work the minimum wage jobs.
Yeah. What's your favorite project that you've done so far?
Ooh, I would have to say it'd have to be one of the sculptures
Okay.
that I did and stuff. And I guess I would have to go with the first one I did with the cattails and the dragonfly, because I kept asking, okay, how do I get the copper pipe and the steel rod to look like a cattail? How do I weld them together? And everybody kept telling me, you can't weld them. You can't weld them together. You can't weld copper and steel. Yeah, nobody mentioned that you could braze them together. Thank you, YouTube.
I've never tried. It occurs to me now. I've never messed with copper at all.
Yeah, it's one of those with oxyacetylene and brazing it.
Okay.
And copper has a very low melting point, so if you get it too hot, all of a sudden it's just not there. It's melted away. But you can go on my business Facebook page, and there's a few different sculptures I've done with cattails in them.
Awesome
stuff.
Very cool. Do you do commission stuff too, or do you mostly do like as when it comes to the art side of things? You do both.
Yeah, I do both. I've done commission pieces for signs, or one of the sculptures I did, actually, I donated to the Hearts to Handbags, or Hearts for Handbags.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what it was called, but it's a fundraiser for the Safe Space Women's Shelter here in Butte.
Okay.
It's like for their annual big fundraiser.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Any fun projects in the works now?
A carpet rack, some brackets.
Rack?
Yeah.
What is
a rack for? Rack? So it's going to be it's going to be about 2 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and 7 foot long, with wheels on it that you can put a rolled carpet on.
Oh.
One of the restoration carpet places.
Okay.
Stuff. Wanted me to do that, and some bracket type stuff.
Okay.
For another place.
Very
and then, of course, I've got Halloween and Christmas coming up. So Christmas ornaments, Christmas signs, all that kind of good stuff.
Awesome. We've got a question from the audience. Kenneth is asking if you have a strong chamber of commerce in your city and if you've joined. And I think that's where your networking group is through. Is it through your chamber of commerce?
It isn't. It's a standalone thing. Everything I've heard, I haven't talked to them myself, but I've talked to quite a few different business owners that were not impressed with the Chamber of Commerce in the area.
That's unfortunate.
And they weren't very responsive when the business network was trying to do a speed networking type of thing. I think it was. Okay. We were trying to do some kind of joint event with them, and it didn't work out. So
that's unfortunate, but I'm glad you found something that has been a good community, and that's what we do, right? We just keep on moving ahead and finding our group wherever we can, find our support.
Yeah, you got to find your tribe.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so as we round up our hour here, we're getting close to the end of our hour. So I've got my final question that I always love to ask is if yeah, you've been thinking about this one. You watch enough of these episodes to know.
Yes, I knew one question out of this whole thing. So.
And this is the only question that folks who are guests on this episode, on this show, get to prepare for, because I ask it all the time. Everything else, I don't even know what I'm going to ask until we get in the moment, because it's real, it's live, it's real, right? So this is the one. If you had the opportunity to talk to the younger you, little baby Serena, or maybe one of these young girls that you're going to be mentoring in the future, students that you're going to be teaching real soon, what are your words of advice to her?
It would be to keep swimming, keep going, and trust the process. Because things may look really, really dark, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Straight from somebody who has been through more than most will experience in a lifetime in just the last couple of years. Woman, I do not know how you do it. I have I have the utmost respect for the crazy path that you have been on and your perseverance and your drive and the fact that you still have a smile on your face. It is absolutely that in and of itself is so inspiring. And those of you who are listening to this and don't get to see her smile, tune in, watch the video because to be somebody who has been hurt, who has been beaten down by life in so many ways, and so many people would have given up a long time ago, and you just kept plowing ahead, and you're thriving, and you're making it happen, and you're not letting anything stop you. And don't ever let that change. Don't lose sight of the big vision, but remember to focus on
Yes.
that first step in front of you. Okay, lady?
All right.
I am so glad that you said yes to being on the show. You're fantastic. Keep coming back and watching the show and hanging out in the
Oh,
comments. I
yeah.
love seeing you popping up. And actually, we didn't even talk. You have cars too. We didn't talk about this.
Yeah, no. You forgot
So
about the VW
I forgot.
Bugs and the
She has
Ford
VW
trucks.
Bugs, y'all. We're like soul sisters in this sense. So on top of all of this, she's also a bug girl and has a bunch of car projects and is doing more with that. So there's a
Yep.
lot more to learn about this woman. So go follow her, find her on social media. If you are anywhere near her and you need metal work done, hit her up. Or if you know anybody in her area that would like to learn how to weld, she's teaching classes.
Okay, Bogey, you're hired as my social media promoter now.
Oh no, I'm not good at social media. I'm just a good cheerleader. So, all right. Well, I'm excited to see the rest of your journey continue to unfold and see where you go with this next. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you had as much fun meeting Serena as I did. Definitely go check her out, show her some love and support, and follow along on her journey. And for now, I'm going to bid you guys a wonderful evening. Big thank you again to our sponsors who helped make this episode possible, both DriveTime and ASE, two powerful forces in the automotive industry, help making the future of the industry a little bit brighter, particularly when it comes to women. They both do a ton of work behind the scenes to help promote and advocate for women in the trades, just like we're doing here. So, as always, every Wednesday, you can catch a brand new episode live here on YouTube and on Facebook, and archive episodes every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can listen anytime you'd like, wherever you get your podcasts. Again, I am your host, Bogey, and I wish you guys a fantastic evening. Be good to yourselves, be good to one another, and we'll see you next time.